Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thomas Podcast. Sorry about this. Okay, sorry about this. All right, so today I have a special friend who's a filmmaker. Okay, a award-winning director. All right, and me and him, we've known each other, I believe, since 2015 or 2016. I can't even remember because it's been quite a while. We went to this place where we had 2 days where we were advised, more about the filming industry, the do's and the don'ts, and the definitely must do, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna welcome him now, yes, to come and join. All right. And I hope you enjoy. And I know a lot. Oh, in fact, is here. I know a lot. That was my background. I used to be a filmmaker, and I hope one day I can resume it. All right. So, Rajnish is gonna join us shortly. Please request to join, Rajnish. Request to join. All right. There you go. Lovely. He's gonna introduce himself fully. And I hope it's going to inspire a lot of you that want to be a filmmaker one day. All right? Okay. Nice one. Rajneesh, can you request to join? Request to join. Yeah? Request to join me. All right? Hope all of you are having a nice Saturday so far. The weather, well, how can you expect? We live in the UK, so we have to get used to it, I guess. Okay? Rajneesh, you need to request to join. Let's see if that works. I'm very sorry about this, people. Try to get my guest to join me. Oh, there you go. Accept. Yes. Third time lucky. Come on. Instagram. Yeah, you should be on shortly. I can't wait for him to talk about his filmmaking journey. Okay. Accept. Okay. View request. Go live. Should work now. Yeah. Don't know why Instagram does that. I'm very sorry about this, everyone. Should work now.
Morning.
Hey, morning, Rajneesh. Okay, sorry about this. I have to always ask, I don't know how many times to say yes, 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 I want the person to go live. So introduce yourself to us, please.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. My name is Raj. I'm an award-winning filmmaker and director from the Midlands. Been doing this for about 7 years now. It's been quite a long journey. Journey's not over yet. It's barely gotten started, if I'm honest. But yeah, here today really just to talk about filmmaking, my own personal experiences, answer any questions that you guys have got, and really any advice that you're willing to
Thank
take
you
on. So,
so much.
yep,
So
here I am.
I want to start first. You said that we met. What was the course? Was it Game Changers, right? Do you remember that?
I think, yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, the first time we both met, it was in London. It was the Game Changers that we met on. Um, yeah, it was incredible just to meet a lot of different people from different backgrounds. All of us basically starting on the journey of filmmaking. For me, it was actually quite interesting because I was just about leaving the TV industry and I was just about getting into filmmaking on my own. And just to know that I wasn't alone, just to know that, there was a lot of obstacles that a lot of other people are facing as well. it felt, it felt encouraging, because the one thing in this industry, because sometimes it can feel very lonely. The one thing about this industry more than anything, though, it's finding the right people and finding people that you can work with and that you can basically form some kind of camaraderie with. So yeah, going on that was brilliant. The people were great. Learned about meditation, which I still use to
Yeah.
this day, actually, which is really cool. And yeah, it's a lot of useful information. And I
Yeah,
don't know
that
what
was
else to
so
say. I think
amazing.
that's it,
Yeah.
really. Yeah,
So how did you
that's
get
all we
into
both know.
filmmaking? What
Yeah.
made you go into that?
Right. Okay. Well, this is a bit of a long story, actually. So, for myself personally, I didn't get into filmmaking straight away from uni. I graduated from uni, realised I learned absolutely nothing. So I ended up spending the next 3 years just freelancing in the industry. So going up and down the country, uh, working on
Mhm.
shows like Britain's Got Talent, X Factor, even got a traineeship on Coronation Street, a lot of stuff. And, you know, um, it was an arduous journey. A lot of times I was not getting paid. Sometimes I was even losing money doing what I was doing. But the
Mhm.
experience was building. And the work ethic that I built from that was incredible. But then I'm on a film set. I'm on TV set actually, sorry. And one day a director he pulls me aside. He's like, "Oh, Raj, what do you actually want to do? You know, what do you want to do in this industry?" And I look at him
Mhm.
and I say, "Well, I want to do your job. Like, I want to be a director. I want to tell stories. I want to collaborate, and I want to create something that people will see." And he looks at me. He's like, "Raj, you can't be here. You will never ever be a director doing it this way." Um, and I want to point out for the people listening, there are three things in this industry, whether film or television, that myself personally, I do not think there's a ladder to climb. You just have to start doing it and you gain experience. And those things I would say is acting, directing, and writing. In terms of everything else, cinematography and production design and editing, you can start off with traineeships going up and then building up to that. With directing though, it's a case of you've got to make films and you've got to show people
Mhm.
that you can tell a story. So I basically find myself at a crossroads. Either stick to this thing that I've been doing for 3 years, that I've sacrificed a lot, that I've worked really hard for an end goal where I'm going to end up doing a job that I don't actually want to do, or take a risk on myself and actually start making films. And I decided to become a filmmaker. I decided to become a director. And yeah, I haven't looked back since. And it's been great. It's been fantastic. I don't know if that was the answer, if you
No,
were
no,
wondering
no.
about my
Me,
childhood, about, oh, do you want
I love what you
what
said.
inspires you?
I love exactly what
Yeah,
you said. You said that you had somebody basically tell you, look, you can't really be here. I love that. I don't think it was to put you
yeah,
down in any way, but it's like, listen, I like that somebody actually took a step,
no,
so you maybe not happy, and like, I don't know, I'm just thinking, and you say, look, Raj, what do you want to do exactly? And I think I've been to that situation as well. So people ask me exactly, what is it that you wanted to do? So I like the fact that the person heard
yeah,
what you had to say and said, look, you can't be here. And you decided, right, I've been doing this
yeah,
for 3 years, but I'm not going anywhere. So I hope I'm not saying that in the wrong way, but in terms of what exactly you wanted to do.
no,
And
no,
then you say, I'm going to take that big jump and take the risk and
yeah,
actually
yeah.
go out there and do it. And you haven't looked back since. So can you tell us about that journey when you took that big
No,
jump?
right. Well, it was just a case of where I just knew that even though I spent a lot of time, and I mean a lot of time just getting into the TV industry to begin with, I knew that for me, getting there was just an achievement in itself. Like most people, they don't even make it that far. But having to balance between that and directing, because initially I wanted to do both. I wanted to see if I could stay in the industry and be a filmmaker. And the problem is that in the film and TV industry, you're looking at 12, 15-hour days. You're looking at basically leaving your own home city, going whatever the project is. And for most people, 99% of people, you're not starting off with the glamorous jobs anyway. Most of the jobs you're starting off as a trainee, as a runner, and those are pretty much like the dirty jobs. Those are the type of jobs that are not glamorous. Like you're taking teas and coffees to people, you're cleaning up on set, you're basically doing the busy work. But it's a learning experience. You're there to learn. You're there to absorb everything and just see how the industry works. And you've got to pay your dues as well. The problem is that everyone that if they just give everyone a job just straight away, you end up attracting the wrong people. So the problem is that this industry, it's not as glamorous
Exactly.
as people think it is. It just isn't. Most of it is just hard work. But yeah, I just knew for a fact that if I stayed at this path, even though I put so much time into it, ultimately I wasn't going to be happy because there is no being a runner, then being an AD, then being a
No.
director. It doesn't work that way. You know, a lot of it is creativity, storytelling, decision making, and those are things that you have to learn on the job, or you have to
Hmm.
learn just by doing it as much as you can. And I mean, you can train up in terms of what a first AD does. Which is why there's a progressive ladder for that. But for directing, well, there isn't one, because you look at most directors, they all have their own approach to being a director. So I just knew for a fact that just by making stuff, just by being a director, by just making the content,
That's true.
I was going to get
And
better that way.
and you
And
did.
you know, well, I mean, there are a few, yeah, well, that's it. And but I do know a few people that did stay in the TV industry, and they did, make their own short films here and there, mainly in the AD department. But most of them are not really making films as often, and it really is a skill-based industry. Like the more you do this, the better that you get. It's like
Yeah.
anything in life. You only get better at driving a car by driving as often as you can. You only get better at dancing by dancing as much, or whatever analogy for skill-based
Hmm.
stuff. I mean, that's basically it. I mean, the more you do, the better you get, really. And with a job where it's like half the day is just being on your feet and being exhausted, it doesn't really leave
Yeah.
enough time to be creative
No, but
anyway.
you tell you the truth.
Yeah,
You're talking from the heart, from experience as well. But what I remember when we went to that game
yeah,
changer, and it's true, I was at the point where I wanted to just leave the industry altogether. I'm like, you know what? I had a job, in a production company.
mm,
Things didn't work out, and I have kids. And with kids, I don't know if you have any, but
yeah,
it's really hard to do 12 hours a day. And I
yeah,
had to sacrifice my career for my kids. I said to myself, I can't do both. I
yeah,
just can't do both. If I do
yeah,
both, it's impossible anyway. I have to look after my kids. I have to take them to school. I have to do this. I have to do that. So I had to take a step back. So at the time when I was there, I was on my way to taking a step back fully. But now I'm like, actually, let
yeah,
me see what else I can do. So what I liked about you is that what you said,
yeah,
it's not gonna be easy, but you have to keep going because one day you're gonna see the fruit of your labor. I know you didn't say it like that, but that's what I remember. So are you seeing the fruit of
yeah.
your hard work labor?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, best way to describe it, I think I remember saying to you when we met, there
Mhm.
is satisfaction in the struggle. The fact that we're working towards a goal, we're working towards something that we're actually passionate about. Um, it's taking joy in that. In terms of me seeing the fruit of my labour, I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I'm a lot
Good.
closer to it now than when we first
That's
met.
good. Seven
I'll put it
years
that way.
later, and
Yeah.
look at you, you're award-winning filmmaker
Yeah.
director. So can you tell us some of the films that you have done?
So, yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting journey. So, the very first two films that I made were short horror films. Both of them did exceptionally well, and they actually managed to get into so many different film festivals. Managed to get into London, Manchester, Birmingham, uh, places in
Wow.
Sydney, Australia. Managed to get into Paris, Toronto. Even managed to actually get into Los
Oh.
Angeles. So yeah, a year before. Oh, thank you. So year before the pandemic, one of my short films actually got screened out there, and I actually flew out there, and it was incredible. And really funny as well. Massive screening at Pinewood Studios a few years ago. This is the very same time they were filming Star Wars at the time, and I took my family there for the screening. They gave us a tour of the whole studio, the whole building, and yeah, they told us you can't take any pictures, by the way. Big security there. They were like, yeah, they will take you to the ground. And my family are looking at me. They're like, right, okay, Pinewood Studios. Okay, they're shooting Star Wars in that building over there. And then they met the actors from Goodness Gracious Me. They went crazy, Asian families. So actors from Goodness Gracious Me, of course. Um, but yeah, they basically looked at me and they were like, maybe you have a future in this filmmaking thing, maybe. So yeah, I count my blessings. It's been a good ride. But yeah, for me, for the most part, obviously because with the pandemic, everything hitting the way it did, I actually went in the reverse direction in terms of
Mm-hmm.
scale. Initially, it was bigger projects for film festivals, for you know, just it was a case of like, oh yeah, I need to make bigger stuff so that I could get my name out there. But with COVID-19, that just was not possible, and you face challenges like that, and you have to ask yourself a question. You can either say, well, I'm either going to put everything on hold, or I'm going to see if I can actually get something done. So I decided, you know what? It doesn't matter how small, doesn't matter how cheesy, it doesn't really matter if people even see this. I'm going to start making like little tiny films. It was a personal philosophy of mine. It's a skill-based thing, quantity over quality. Especially at the beginning. I would
Mm-hmm.
say this for anyone that's looking to start. Don't worry about being good. You're not going to be. You're going to be crap when you
Mm-hmm.
first start. So just focus on, yeah. So just focus on making a lot of stuff and focus on enjoying it as well. Make it fun. Make it fun for yourself and the people that you're working with. So yeah, that was about 2020. So from May until about no, from March until about May time, I must have made about
Oh,
15 short films
in
thereabouts.
3 years.
Yeah, which
In
was a
3
lot
years.
in 3 months.
Wow.
3 months.
You make
Yes.
it sound like easy.
So,
What
but
you
that,
talking about? That's
yeah,
a lot. Oh,
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, if that surprises you, what I'm going to tell you next is just going to absolutely
can you
blow
tell
your
us then?
mind. So, those
Can you
15
please
short.
carry on?
Sorry. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I'm about to. Yeah. So, those 15 short films though, they were mainly stuff that I was doing at home and doing, just well, in my garden and in the house and stuff like that. But then I realised, you know what, I miss working with actors. Just that collaboration. That's the one thing as a director you can't really learn on your own. You can learn the cinematography and the editing patterns and production design and psychology of sound and colour by doing little bits here and there, little stuff by yourself. What you can't learn is how to really communicate with actors and really get them in that emotional space, connect with the characters. So set up a little page on Facebook. Every actor that I knew at the time, sent them a message. I was like, "Hey guys, wouldn't it be amazing if we created little short films together? I'll choose a monologue, break it down. I'll record your voice. Obviously, at the time, we can't be together because social distancing. I'll create a little short film, and yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I'm thinking maybe 4 or 5 people are going to say yes. The very next day, 26 people have all said yes, and I'm having a panic attack. I'm thinking about jumping out the window. I'm like, oh no, because it was so much. It was so much. But I just went, okay, great. I've got people involved. So I ended up getting some shooting scripts ready. I got the monologues. Uh, created some character outlines, got the actors involved. Some people dropped out, and the short films itself, they varied from just like little simple pieces where it's just dialogue on top of imagery, and others became actual real short films. Some of them, I think the best way to describe them would be like silent films, and that was about 16 short films in total. No crew. It was just myself, and that was 3 years. And this year was the one that I finally finished, the final one. And yeah, that was exhausting.
Well
So
done. Well done.
yeah, um,
So, hey, so
thank you
that
very much. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean that's what. Yeah, I mean after 3 years of that, that's why I just decided I'm gonna go to Thailand for a month. I need the time off, but yeah, yeah, it's been a good journey, and doing it that way. Which, oh, by the way, to anyone listening, you don't have to make that many. You don't have to go that crazy. But I would suggest if you can focus on maybe making a couple of micro shorts, something simple, something basic, that will help. I think the problem is that when people start out, they're thinking huge scale, big, bright lights, Hollywood, blah blah. It's like
no.
you don't have to make it that big. You know, keep it 2 or 3 people, get a couple of actors in, make it simple, make it short, focus on the storytelling. That's it, you're golden. You'll learn a lot more, you'll
Mm,
make a lot more doing it that way, and you'll have more
yeah.
fun. It's less stressful. So yeah, and I can attest to that because making that many short films next year, I am looking to start crewing up a lot more people, and I'm starting to look into making a lot more major projects on in the pipeline. So yeah, I don't remember who said this exactly, but it stuck with me. Slow is smooth,
So again,
smooth is fast. So for anyone, slow is
lovely.
smooth, smooth is fast. So don't be in such a massive rush in order to get where you need to get to. Just focus on having fun, focus on learning the skills, and just focus on
Consistency
just being
is
consistent.
key. Yeah, I
So
agree. I totally agree. So when you travel, do you have any
yeah,
inspirations? Have you
yeah.
got ideas popping up? Yes, because you say you've been
While
to
I'm
Thailand for a
traveling,
couple of months, and I've seen you traveling. I've seen many
yeah,
photos, video of
yeah,
you traveling. I love to travel. That's amazing. I think you went to Denmark
yeah.
recently. I
No,
think.
yeah, that's right. I went. That was
Yeah.
about
Sorry, I'm
two,
checking
three
because I
weeks ago.
love
Yeah, that's right.
travel.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Mr. Worldwide. That's what they call me now. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty much going everywhere. But yeah, no, honestly, well, I think the things that I geek out about more than anything, obviously, filmmaking and movies is one of them. Traveling, martial arts and lifting weights and just working out. I would say that is something else that a lot of filmmakers should keep in mind, or aspiring filmmakers that are listening to this. Have other hobbies, have other things that you're interested in. You know, it's important to travel because you need to have thoughts, feelings, philosophies, an opinion about the world. There's no point in just making films about films. I mean, Martin Scorsese
Yeah.
does that, that's great, but that's him, and he's already taken. So, yeah, I mean, I find traveling and meeting new people, I mean, it always sparks a little bit of something there, anyway. But I think more than anything,
Hmm.
it's just important to live, as much as you can, because like I said, I mean, you've said it as well. I mean, trying to have a
Hmm.
family or
Hmm.
trying to have a social life and trying to make a career out of this is not the easiest thing in the world. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really
I
hard,
know.
you know,
I know.
really hard.
I love that you talk really the truth
Yeah,
because what this podcast, I don't know if I could you, but it's really for young people watching because my students they said, "Oh, but Miss
yeah,
Diaz, that's how they call me. Uh, you were a filmmaker." About this, I had a
yeah,
background also of journalism a little bit, and this they're like, "Why did you give that up to just be a teacher. And I'm not sorry about this, people calling me. Basically, I had to give it up because of my kids. I couldn't about this. So I
Yeah.
just, yeah, I'm hanging up. Just get the hint.
It's okay.
So I said to them, it's not as easy as you think, because you must have some sort of revenue, because you can work sometimes without making no money. Honestly, let's just be real. There's no money in the
Yeah.
industry, really. Like, not in a bad way, but it isn't. People think, oh, you work in films already,
No.
oh, red carpet and this. It's not that. In fact, it's not that at all. And when
No.
when they were asking me so
No.
many questions, I'm like, that's an idea. I'm going to do a podcast. Actually, I have people in the industry talk about it, and not just the film industry, but any professional life, so that they know that
Yeah.
when you leave school, what area you want to go to, and having people insights exactly what it's like. So thank you so much for your wonderful
Yeah.
insight. I like that your honesty. Like, you know what, this is how it is. You don't think of the lights of Hollywood
Yeah.
and stars, red carpet. Don't
Well,
think about that. But also doing something that
no.
you like to do, something
No.
that, because you're gonna see it's not easy, it's not glamorous, it's hard work, never ending. You have to like it.
Yeah.
So I like that you
Yeah.
from the heart.
Well, yeah. No, well, you're right. I mean, that's exactly it, and it's not that uncommon what you've said as well. I mean, especially for the women in our industry. I mean, I've noticed this when I was working in TV. I mean, even now as an independent filmmaker, the problem is that a lot of women do leave, and mainly it's because of what you said. Most of them, they want relationships, they want to have families, they want to get married and have kids, and it's just this life.
No.
It's not easy to, it's not easy. It's not easy for that. I mean, it doesn't really afford that much. I mean, it comes to a point where I've noticed a lot of women in our industry, they either stay in this industry and they don't settle down or have a family, which is quite common, or many of them, they just say,
Mm-hmm.
well, I want those things, and they leave. And it's not anyone's fault. It's just it's priorities. I mean, it's easy for a woman who's 20 to say, yeah, I'm going to do this forever, but that's the same woman when she's like 25 or 30. She's probably going to give you a different. And by the way, this isn't me trying to generalize or anything like that, but it's just it is one of those things where trying to have a life outside of this, and but also trying to build a career. I mean, it's not as hand in hand
No.
as most people think it is. And like even now, like with the writer
Mm-hmm.
strikes that were happening in America, I know people in this country that work in the TV industry. 75% of them are out of a job. A lot of them have had to take on normal, regular jobs now. And we're not even talking about people early, mid-level, entry level to mid-level people. We're talking about people that have been in this for like 20 plus
Yep.
years.
Yep.
You know, it isn't stable at all. So, and one other thing I would say, for anyone listening, do not think that having massive ambition is a bad thing. It's not. I have huge ambitions. Like my ambitions are laughably impossible to most people. But that's still something that I'm aiming towards. I ignore everyone else. I mean, you have to, but the one thing I would say is that if you obsess with that North Star, if that's all you're focusing on, you're going to feel miserable because it's just going to feel far and far away. I would
Yeah.
say enjoy the journey as well. You're working towards something, but don't make that like, oh, I have to get to Hollywood. It's like, yeah, that stuff will be waiting for you. It's not going anywhere. But
Yeah.
enjoy it, enjoy
Yeah.
the journey. Enjoy the
That's
process, enjoy
amazing.
future projects you're
And
on.
usually when I
You
conclude
know,
my podcast, and by the
so,
way, thank you so much for coming. Usually I ask my final question: what is the
yeah,
one
sure,
tip that you want to give young people
sure,
that one day want to be filmmakers or directors like yourself?
okay. Um, one, it's
The
difficult to
main
say
tip.
one tip.
Yeah,
Am
go
I
on.
allowed to cheat a little bit? Okay. Um, what's the? biggest, I would say, if there's a few things. I would say if you make sure that this is something that you truly love, like enjoy the journey. You know, make sure you're working with people that you actually like. You know, life's too short to work with arseholes or people that you don't gel with. Like, it's not worth it. Doesn't matter if they've got a great camera or a great whatever. It doesn't matter. If you don't work well with them, don't work with them. You know, you're just going to make it miserable for yourself. The other thing as well, make it fun. Make it fun for yourself, and just don't give up. That's it. Just don't take no for an answer, because the biggest thing that guarantees failure, from what I've seen, it's people that
Mm-hmm.
have given up this industry, and it's the most heartbreaking thing, because the biggest tragedy our industry has are people that could have been the next Martin Scorsese or the next Christopher Nolan or the next,
Big
Catherine
dog.
Bigelow. I don't know, like whatever
Tarantino.
great director you have in your mind. Exactly. There you go. Like, the industry wants to hear our stories. They do. Like, they're looking for more people. But the big tragedy of when a person who has so much talent and so much drive and love for this, but they go, you know what, it's too hard, or I don't think I'm good enough, or whatever, and then they give up. And I would say, like, if you truly love this, just keep going. Don't stop, and don't compare yourself to other people either. That's the worst thing you can do, because our journeys are different. Like, some people, they have huge success in a matter of a couple of years. Some
Mm-hmm.
people, it takes decades. You're not on anyone else's timescale, but it's you versus you. You're
It's
not
true.
here to compete with anyone else. So don't do that. Like, what's the word? Comparison is the thief of joy. That's the word I'm looking for, and it
Mm-hmm.
really is. So don't do that to yourself.
But
Just
I like
focus on what you're
the
doing and do
advice.
your own thing.
Comparison is a thief of what? Thief of life? Of what? So
Comparison is
yeah,
the
I
thief of
think
all
it's
joy.
just doesn't just apply for filmmaking, but in every area, at school, at work, anywhere. Because you is you versus you, and I really love that. And I want to say a big
Absolutely.
thank you. Yes, and I hope I didn't cut your activities in terms of creativity today. So don't worry, you can go back to that. And I hope I can
No, no,
see you
no,
guys
no.
again. I mean, I hope you have a little reunion with all the people that we met on that day, because you guys, I've been really inspired by all of you guys. So it's fantastic. And thank you so much again for your time. And all the best with everything that you have coming up. Yeah. So thank you so much. Have a lovely Saturday.
Thank you for having me. Okay.
Bye. Take
You
care.
too. Thanks.